Storm surge warning, latest local forecast, equivalent strong tropical storm force wind storm surge warning Miami FL September 10, 2017 4 a.m. advisory, peak wind forecast, 55 to 70 miles per hour with gusts to 100 miles per hour, window for tropical storm force winds, until early Monday morning, current threat to life and property, extreme. The wind threat has remained nearly steady from the previous assessment. Remain braced against the reasonable threat for major hurricane force wind greater than 110 miles per hour of equivalent Category 3 intensity or higher. To be safe, efforts should fully focus on protecting life. Properties remain subject to devastating to catastrophic wind impacts. Now is the time to urgently hide from the wind. Failure to adequately shelter may result in serious injury, loss of life, or immense human suffering. Remain sheltered until the hazardous wind subsides. Be ready to quickly move to the safest place within your shelter if extreme wind warnings are issued. Potential impacts, unfolding. Potential impacts from the main wind event are unfolding. Storm surge, latest local forecast, life-threatening storm surge possible, peak storm surge inundation, the potential for 5 to 8 feet above ground somewhere within surge-prone areas, window of concern, begins Sunday morning, current threat to life and property, high. The storm surge threat has remained nearly steady from the previous assessment. Emergency plans should include a reasonable threat for major storm surge flooding of greater than 6 feet above ground. To be safe, aggressively prepare for the potential of extensive storm surge flooding impacts. Evacuation efforts should now be brought to completion. Evacuations must be complete before driving conditions become unsafe. Life-threatening inundation is possible. Failure to heed evacuation orders may result in serious injury, significant loss of life, or human suffering. Leave if evacuation orders are given for your area. Consider voluntary evacuation if recommended. Poor decisions may result in being cut off or needlessly risk lives. Potential impacts, extensive, large areas of deep inundation with storm surge flooding accentuated by battering waves. Structural damage to buildings, with several washing away. Damage compounded by floating debris. Locations may be uninhabitable for an extended period. Large sections of near-shore escape routes and secondary roads washed out or severely flooded. Flood control systems and barriers may become stressed. Severe beach erosion with significant dune loss. Major damage to marinas, docks, boardwalks, and piers. Many small craft broken away from moorings, especially in unprotected anchorages with some lifted onshore and stranded. Flooding rain, latest local forecast, flood watches in effect, peak rainfall amounts, additional 12 to 18 inches, with locally higher amounts, current threat to life and property, extreme. The flooding rain threat has remained nearly steady from the previous assessment. Emergency considerations should include a threat of flooding. Be safe and remain ready to protect against flooding rain impacts. If flood-related watches and warnings are in effect, heed recommended actions. Potential impacts, devastating to catastrophic, extreme rainfall flooding may prompt numerous evacuations and rescues. Ditches and canals may overwhelmingly overflow their banks in many places with deep moving water. Flood control systems and barriers may become stressed. Flood waters can enter numerous structures within multiple communities, some structures becoming uninhabitable or washed away. Numerous places where flood waters may cover escape routes with streets, parking lots, and underpasses submerged. Driving conditions become very dangerous. Numerous road and bridge closures with some weakened or washed out. Tornado, latest local forecast, tornado watch is in effect, situation is favorable for tornado, latest local forecast, tornado watch is in effect, situation is favorable for tornadoes, current threat to life and property, moderate. The tornado threat has remained nearly steady from the previous assessment. Emergency considerations should include a reasonable threat for tornadoes. Be safe and remain ready to protect against tornado impacts. Stay informed. Listen for tornado watches and warnings. If a tornado approaches, quickly move to the safest place within your shelter.